All right, folks, we should be live here. And it is Friday night, so I don't really expect a ton of people to show up to this stream today because it is indeed Friday night, and most people enjoy their Friday nights elsewhere. But I'm a bit of a recluse, and this is what I would most likely be doing on a Friday night anyways. And I haven't streamed in a couple of days now because of, well, it hasn't been a couple days. It's only really been one day. And then I missed out this morning because of just technical difficulties in regards to where my equipment was, and so that's why I wasn't able to stream this morning. I just wasn't able to get everything ready on time, so I decided just forget about it, relax a little bit. But yeah, on Valentine's Day, I was actually with my girlfriend in the desert. We decided to go to a conservation center that we've both been wanting to go to for a while, so I couldn't stream that day because I was with her and I wasn't home. And then this morning, all my equipment was in disarray because on that same day, I left on the 13th to the desert. And that day I actually had an interview. Somebody wanted to interview me for a podcast. But interestingly enough, it's for the city of San Bernardino. This lady, Jennifer Kane, is interested in starting a podcast for the city there, revolving arts, and she works for the Arts Council, the California Arts Council. So she is interested in starting a podcast as a resource for other artists in the San Bernardino County. And since most of my work has been done in that area, I went to school in San Bernardino County, and most of my artwork has found its home there. She wanted to interview me, but because I'm also somebody who's creating media for a lot of San Bernardino County's art events, she also asked me if I could help her with the documentation of this. So I filmed and recorded the whole podcast and have been commissioned to handle all the editing and file management for that. So all my equipment this morning was in disarray because when I left right after that interview, I didn't really have time to reorganize all of my equipment. So that's part of the reason why I couldn't stream this morning. I didn't have anything set up as I normally do, and I just decided to relax a little bit and not get all that done. So, but I have been writing for most of today and thinking a lot about hand-eye coordination and whether or not it is a significant component to penmanship. Whether or not it's really necessary thing to consider while handwriting. So, interestingly, I did approach handwriting originally as a physical exercise, and so my take is that perhaps it is important to the process of penmanship, but it's hard to really determine because I did have one student who, hi Vondi, thanks for joining us. I did have one student who was extremely proficient at left-handed penmanship. he studied with the nuns, and he was a little bit older. He's mid-60s or so when I worked with him. Very proficient with his left hand penmanship, but he did not use whole arm movement, although he did have the Palmer style, and he studied under a nun who was also left-handed, and she taught him in this style of movement that would be considered the hook motion handwriting, and he kind of did this flicking motion as he wrote. Very beautiful penmanship though, and very consistent in his writing, and for him it was very practical. He did just fine in his handwriting and picked up the right-handed penmanship very quickly and with ease as well, but he didn't use whole arm movement the way I've been experimenting with it. And the reason I bring him up was because I also worked with him in a different capacity, in a more athletic capacity, and he revealed to me that he wasn't very athletic and that his hand-eye coordination was very poor, and there seemed to be no correlation between his ability in penmanship and his hand-eye coordination in other areas, which maybe it was a bit of a surprise to me at the time, but I don't know, maybe there's no real correlation between hand-eye athletic coordination and penmanship. Yeah, he studied penmanship under a nun because he went to a Catholic school. Like I said, he was in his 60s, so he must have been going to school around, I don't know, the 1960s, or maybe even earlier than that. No, it had to have been about the 1960s that he was attending these Catholic schools and learning penmanship. So I don't know, I just kind of interested in whether or not there's a correlation between because this becomes, when we start using the whole arm, I think it becomes more of a gross motor coordination, which would be more similar to what we're doing when we're, say, playing baseball or any other sport that involves hand-eye coordination. But I've also worked with other people who are very, very proficient at sports and very athletic, but they have very poor handwriting, so sorry, I have to check my messages right now. This might not apply to our penmanship study, but it was believed that no swordsman in Asia had terrible handwriting. Ah, that's interesting. I do think that is very interesting. And the reason I'm interested in this hand-eye coordination thing is because for the last 7 years, handwriting being a part of it, I've done other exercises that greatly stimulate hand-eye coordination, because the hands are the most connected parts of the body to the brain. When we look at the motor cortex and how the real estate is distributed throughout the body, the hands are extremely connected to the brain, and so handwriting for me is a brain exercise more than anything. And more recently, I've been taking a greater interest in this whole arm movement because I've fallen in love with handwriting in the process, and then to learn of the history of American penmanship and all of the masters who have produced beautiful documents. I'd like to one day be a part of that history in a more, I guess, explicit way. And then today I decided to put on gloves because I'm tired of the rodeo paper doesn't seem to react very well with the oils of my skin, and I smear the ink and then I end up with ink everywhere. So I'm just going to try it out with gloves and see if this makes a difference. I also have weird music playing today because I want to see if who's going to copyright claim all this music. So this is actually a latex glove. It's not rubber. I don't know. Is latex a type of rubber? Oh man, I'm ignorant to that. I'm working with 1/8 inch lines in case you're curious. Let's shorten this up. Prior to popularity of modern pens, people would have had to know some calligraphy. Yeah, I think prior to keyboard and all of that, it was just a much greater necessity. But also, you know, the literacy rates back in the day were much lower. So less people in general were learning to write and read. And if they learned to read, it wasn't always the case that they learned to write as well. But handwriting was definitely a greater part of any sort of education because it was a greater necessity. So they were building this coordination up. I don't know why I feel like working on F today. F is such an interesting letter. The movement is very interesting. Oh, okay. Yes. Well, the calligraphic style of China and also just the general character structure is a little bit more complicated, I feel, compared to the modern English writing styles. But maybe that's just because I'm looking from the outside. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Well, back in the day, there was definitely more emphasis as well in our society for good penmanship. Yeah, that's a big thing. With music, though, I find that the copyright claims are made pretty instantaneously, so I'm thinking they're automated. So usually the copyright holders for music have filed their sound into some kind of database, and then when YouTube recognizes it, the claim gets picked up right away. But a strike is a little bit different than a claim. I've never had any sort of strikes. I usually get claims where people want to run ads on my videos because it's their music, which it doesn't really bother me. I'm not really doing this to make any money off of it. I do it because I enjoy it, so it doesn't really bother me if people want to run ads on the video. I have had some cases, like I run a couple other channels for different people, but where I've actually had music made specifically for those videos, I've had people try to run copyright claims because they used the same sample in a song that was produced for me. So I own all the copyright, but people, because they have the same sample that is, it's free to use. You can buy them and use them in your own music, and there's no commercial restrictions on them. But because they're available to multiple people, sometimes people use the same samples in their songs, and the automation will pick that up and think that, oh, you're using this person's song, and when I'm not, we're just using the same sample. But usually there's no problem. You just let them know, and then they remove the claim. As long as you're kind of thorough and let them explain yourself. Yeah, that's definitely something that's going on. You hear a lot of drama about the copyright system on YouTube being extremely flawed. I don't really make any money off of YouTube, so I don't really have to worry about any of that. My only worry is that somebody would want to try to take the channel down for some reason. Which I guess isn't that big of a deal. I'll just start another channel anyways. Does it look in focus to you guys? I feel like we might be a little out of focus. And it is getting extremely warm in here. These lights really make it a lot harder than it needs to be. hear the rain, but it's just way too hot in here, and I gotta open the window. Let's get a new sheet. Drew out some lines prior to the stream starting so that you don't have to deal with me doing that. Can you hear the rain coming in? Oh, that cool breeze. Oh, it's so relieving. We don't get snow here in California. Never really had to deal with it before. But I did go, I got to present in Quebec this time last year, actually. Very close. I think it was a week. Next week will be a year of my anniversary presenting in Quebec. But we had snow there. The house that we stayed in, there was about an 8 or 9 foot wall of snow in front of the house. I was blown away by that. I have never really seen snow like that before. What is going on out there? Is the weather bad? Sorry, I gotta send this message out. Oops. Never really been familiar with the snow. A lot of people I know like to go snowboarding, but I've never really gotten into it. Oh, that would suck. Yeah, I enjoy going outside, so if I couldn't go outside and I had the choice, or I didn't have the choice to do it, I would be really disappointed. I enjoy going outdoors, but I usually stick to my backyard. And then I have a really close by hiking trail that I can just walk to. I don't need to drive to. So that's somewhere that I really like to go in. And I do enjoy running. So I'll sometimes go and run up the hills. Just It's a good little exercise. But other than that, I tend to be quite a hermit. I could just sit and write or draw or do work, whatever it is, and kind of be a bit of a workaholic. I haven't tried, well, I've tried it myself, but I haven't tried it live. If you'd like, I can try it right now. So do some blind writing. So I'm just going to find my place here and then go ahead. I have found that sometimes the movement or the letters come out a little nicer when I do it. Let's try again. No, not really. I think I see. No, it's not really any good. I had done one. I don't know where that paper is. It's buried somewhere. What I've been trying right now is kind of like, well, something that I learned from juggling is that you can't really follow everything that's going on with your eyes. So what you do is you look into the space of the center of where you're juggling. And when you focus on that space, you kind of blur out your vision, and what you're really doing is you're trying to take in as much of your peripheral vision into what you're doing. And that way you can follow the balls around as you throw them. but you're not really looking at anything. And when you do that, it seems as if you can tap into this intuitive understanding that I would consider it a spatial awareness, where your hands can tell where the balls are going based on how you threw the ball, etc. It's like this, hard to explain, but I feel like it's this neurological information that's transferred through the brain, that you're telling the other hand, okay, I've thrown it this far and this is the predicted trajectory of the ball. It's really interesting. So I've been trying to, instead of focusing on what I'm writing, just pay attention to the peripherals of what I'm writing and see if that allows me to just intuitively move through the letters. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Hi Micah, thank you for joining us. Yeah, you gotta spell the name right, Wendy. Well, it was getting really warm in here, so I had to take them off. But no, these headphones are usually very comfortable. Yes, they are Sennheisers. This page was lined a little bit differently. There's no space for the descenders to have on their own, so I'm just going to see what it's like writing casually on this line. Yes, definitely. spacing in exams, like spacing out, you're not paying attention? Ah, I see. Yeah, it does take up more space. I don't know why I decided to go small right there. Yeah, exactly. I think that's most important when it comes to exams. Also, I think if you have nice cursive handwriting, professors tend to like you a little bit more as well. Or they take a personal interest in you as a student, because not a lot of people develop their handwriting nowadays. So when someone shows that they have nice handwriting, it definitely stands out. Hi, David. Thanks for joining us. Awesome. We are just enjoying a little bit of handwriting on stream. How do you guys approach the bottom of the page? I've been leaving this blank space here at the bottom when I line my paper, and in the templates I've been creating for lined paper, because the moment my finger, like you can kind of see it right here, you can kind of see it here, but the moment my fingers are off the page and on the leather underneath, they don't slide very well. And so I've stopped, I've tried to stop writing beneath this line because they just don't glide on the leather. And I don't really enjoy having paper underneath while I'm writing. But what's your guys' approach to that? Yeah, see, I don't really enjoy putting a sheet of paper underneath that, let's start back here. Underneath as I write, but yeah, maybe I should just give in and use a blotter. The peer pressure, yeah, the peer pressure of a blotter. think anything in the context of penmanship might be considered a good form of peer pressure. I don't know. I don't know if it has a name. Do any of the variants for any of the letters have particular? Well, I guess the running T and the running R do have names. I saw this variant in Michael Sol's book. I don't know, the other day it just came out of me, and so I've been using it a little bit more often. Terminal D. Makes sense to me. I have this tendency to use terminal letters sometimes in the middle. I mean the terminal D, I should say. Or even at the beginning. I think I have an example of it tonight. is the terminal R. Is it this one here? Is that the terminal R? I just thought that was called the running R. Like, kind of like that. Make half of a letter N. Oh, like this? Oh, I see. So it's like this. Terminal R. No? Yeah. Okay. I gotta get used to the flow of that. Okay, that makes sense. It's kind of nice. Okay, I'll check him out. I actually have his decided to print out. I think you had posted it, Micah, in the Discord. Just pull out the last sheet here. Style. Yeah, I see it right here. Remember. It is kind of a nice R. I do like it. Pretty mind-blowing that he was able to make these. Such perfection. I wanted to ask you, David, where you had found that version of J.J. Bailey's address to the business educator, where it showed the version that hadn't been engraved, so he had cut out some pieces to replace the mistakes. I was kind of curious at looking at that. I don't know if you could potentially drop the document in the Discord. I'd like to look at that a little more closely. Yeah, to think I can't really even get through one word without a mistake. It's like, how did he do a whole page? Ah, okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate that. Are you a member right now of the IAMPIS group? Okay. Yeah, I think I've got to Gotta redo my membership. I think I've passed the date where you get the discount on the IAMPITH conference. Just kind of a bummer. Let's just go ahead and write this. Not exactly. And it doesn't look like he ever goes back up on his lines for the T. No, I'm not even paying attention here. Is that what they do? They close membership? Yeah, last year I think I joined like in August or something. Maybe it was sooner. But it wasn't at the beginning of the year. Looks like on his P2 he doesn't come back out. Why am I getting so big? Oh, that makes sense. Well, it looks like I will not be an early registration member. I don't know if I really like this version of the see how it's a little easier. Oh, really? Oh, wow. That'd be pretty cool to attend. I've been trying to get Brian Chaboya to go with me, but he doesn't want to go. I'm just going to keep on trying to talk him into it. Oh. I thought... Huh. I imagine he would at least be familiar with some movement. Yeah. Because I think, he really uses more combination movement in the Spencerian, but when I listen to him talk about kind of like, the history of all of that, he puts pretty big emphasis on movement and how handwriting just isn't taught the way it was back in the day. I don't really have much focus right now for what I'm trying to do. Okay, and there's a period there. Oh, what an E he chooses to use here. I guess this would be some fun right now. Let's try out this E. No, he curls back inwards. Kind of like that. I actually like this version of the E quite a bit. I find that this upward stroke right here makes it pretty easy for me to aim on this loop. And, I kind of want the loop to be horizontal and not so slanted. His loop is much tighter though. Yeah, his work isn't really comparable to that of John de Colibus, because you can very much tell that John de Colibus is using strictly muscular movement or whole arm movement more so, compared to the work of Michael Soule. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing. getting his style wrong. I mean, I'd be excited to take a class with Michael Soul, regardless of whatever movement he uses. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, the people he got to study with is just incredible. Have you seen that lecture where he talks to Joe? I think it's inside the Penman studio. I'm not sure if I did, but I might have posted it in the Discord. Okay, let's do it. Let's go ahead and we're pulling out the second sheet of paper. So here we can get the bottom of what we're doing. The bottom of the page here. Okay, I'm finding two things. I'm really enjoying the gloves because the gloves grip the paper really nice and easy, and the paper slides really nice. Before I was having trouble sliding the paper around, especially the underneath paper, and I think part of it had to do with I couldn't really grip it that well with my fingers. But the latex on these gloves just don't even have to try. It just slides the paper, no problem. So that is a nice find. Okay. On the back side of this one. Yeah, the peer pressure one. I think the gloves are making it more convenient, and I don't mind it now. Welcome back. Alright guys, thank you all so much for joining me today. And I will have to conclude the session here. Alright everybody, I will be back on Monday with my normal streaming schedule. I know most of you here don't really want to wake up in the morning and watch me handwrite. So we will perhaps we will consider changing up the schedule to fit more of a Western time zone. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching, and hopefully it's been enjoyable or helpful in any way. But till the next one, we'll see you guys. Take care.